Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unscripted, our limited series podcast where small business owners and entrepreneurs share real, unfiltered stories about their business and behind their brands, their journeys, and the lessons they learned along the way. Today we're here with Addie, our marketing associate, and Alex Sawyer of Headshield Pro. Alex, we met you in the venture pitch last year and the little entrepreneur trip that we all did. Can you give us a little refresher about your business, maybe a 60-second elevator pitch?
Absolutely. So I'm Alex Sawyer, the founder and CEO of Headshield. So Headshield is the UK's first technologically advanced head protection gear aimed at young children to enhance their football performance and reduce the risk of injuries. So this has been going on for about a year and a half now, I'd say. It started in the Young Enterprise Programme with 5 people. It's now down to 3 people. But yeah, this essentially focuses on reducing the risk of concussions.
Okay, so you said you started it through the Young Enterprise Program. Did the idea come then, or had this idea been brewing for a while now? And why did you start this business?
Yeah, so essentially it was all 5 of us. We sat down and we said, what do we all have an interest in? So we said, okay, we're all interested in football, and at the time, the recent issue had occurred that the FA had banned heading for under-12s in football. So as soon as we saw that, we were like, right, okay, let's go down the route of finding the problem, then finding the solution. So obviously found the solution to that in that we could reduce these head injuries whilst also bringing a sort of training aid into the picture.
Yeah, that's great. What's the head shield actually made of?
So currently it's made out of plastic. It was made out of reduced plastic, but now it's been changed to just normal plastic. However, there's different elements. So you've got like the actual shock absorbing foam. So that's like the type of things you see in motorcycle helmets to reduce sort of shock impact. And then the rest of it is made out of plastic.
So your product sounds quite complex, actually. Like, how did you product design is a whole different piece of work. Did you have someone on your team who specialized in that, or did you all just learn on the way?
Yeah, so we actually specifically reached out to product designers at the University of Chester. So I already had a friend that was a product designer. So luckily enough, I went over to him. I said, could you freelance some designs for me? So we went and sat in a cafe, and he drew out all these designs for me. He even actually mapped out the sort of parts of the brain where the padding would need to be focused on most. And yeah, we took it from there. So luckily I got it all for free.
Love that.
Lucky that, yeah. What are some common misconceptions that players and parents might think about like head injuries that your product might solve?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously heading's now been banned for under 12s. So the common misconception is people think that they should just ban heading, but the reality is if you ban heading, that is such a detriment to the children's ability to progress into the professional game, because if you're not heading as a child, then you're not going to be able to progress into heading in the actual game. But some misconceptions about the product is that the main one is that obviously it doesn't work. When you can clearly see that it's shock absorbing around the most important parts of the brain. Other misconceptions is that it's not going to fit certain people, but it's a one-size-fits-all material. Other misconceptions are probably the costing. So most parents would think it's going to be more expensive for them, but it's a much sort of higher product life cycle product. So yeah.
Okay, so have you got any certifications? Have you done any research, testing the impact force and all this sort of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the actual current schools that we work with, obviously these people use these products every single day. In terms of actually obtaining the sort of scientific proof, it is the most long process to actually say that this is the biggest problem. It is physically proving that this is going to reduce things like dementia. That is the biggest claim, obviously, because I'll probably get sued if I started telling people that. But yeah, we have done tests in that these schools are using it. But in terms of can I concrete say this is going to reduce dementia? No, I can't. But these are future things.
Okay, so is that part of your business plan then? Just like R&D okay.
Absolutely, yeah. That is part of the business plan, is to in the near future try and get scientific certification in terms of it being able to use in a match as well. Because currently it's only a training aid, whereas in the future, if you get scientific proof, you can start to move it into the real game.
So my biggest question would be, Obviously, dementia and other things, other head injuries could come from so many different causes, not just, heading a football.
Yeah.
But so how do you go about marketing your product as something that's safety and could prevent these head injuries while also not making those claims that could get you into trouble in hot water?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a really big sort of concern of ours. But in terms of marketing it, it's more about reassuring these parents that athletes are wearing these. So when we do market it now, like I said, it's more of a training aid rather than an in-match thing. So when you market it, you don't market it and say, this is going to be used in the real sort of game where it's much more physical. It's much more, brutal almost. Whereas in training, it's more about, getting to grips with just heading the ball correctly over time. So yeah, we market it as a training aid rather than a, in-game sort of item.
Yeah, awesome. And just off of that a little bit, do you then use any unbranded marketing strategies rather than purely branded? And what I mean by that is not just, us being unbranded, but unbranded marketing as a strategy, meaning telling a story or invoking a feeling or idea. Do you use that side of it, or do you just stick to kind of branded and saying, this is our product, this is what it's used for?
Yeah, of course. I think storytelling is a massive part of marketing, especially if you're... Because the thing with Headshield is it's more of a story-driven brand rather than just we're here to sort of take over or whatnot. It's more about the story of our group. Our group had 3 people in it in which their grandparents all had dementia from not just from footballing causes but from sporting causes. So 100% we'd use unbranded marketing strategies to really tell that story that this was sort of born from that problem.
Okay. So when you're talking about like building a narrative, storytelling, people find that influencers can help to send that message across more effectively. And we've noticed in sports that influencer marketing, getting athletes on board is such a big deal. Have you thought about the costs? Have you thought about bringing that into your marketing strategies?
Yeah, of course. So we've actually tried to sort of get endorsements and things from football owners. So we have a current endorsement from John Champion, who's a former sort of grassroots level club owner. But yeah, the cost associated with getting some of these athletes on board is extreme. And I think because our product focuses on children, we're not necessarily going to get child athletes. So it's like I'm going to get Hasbulla to just like come over and like try on. I mean, he's not even a child, but it's not as much of a problem for us because I mean, at the moment I just use my brother. So but in the future, I think if it does sort of develop into more the adults game, I think we can start to look at some of these athletes and the costs associated with those.
Yeah, get Messi on there. I'm sure he'd love to do something like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, Messi doesn't have the ball much, so it wouldn't be that much of a.
Yeah, maybe get a bit of a taller guy. But
yeah, get Ronaldo on it. Get Ronaldo on the case.
Oh yeah.
Harry Maguire.
Now, recently we were looking to, you know who Sam Elliott is? He does the deep voice for the truck commercials, like buy Ford.
I don't think I know.
No, okay. Well, he's got this very like deep, cinematic voice, and I was trying to hire him to do an advertisement voiceover for Unbranded because I thought, oh, that'd be awesome. He's selling trucks.
Yeah. In a world.
Movie trailer type. It was just too expensive. So like I know what you mean by getting players, and especially if it's geared at kids, you can't hire some kid. Like, I guess you could, throw him a tenner, maybe a prime.
Or you could use deepfakes or AI.
Yeah. Ronaldo Jr., maybe.
That's a good idea.
He's up and coming.
Yeah. But do you do any like community outreach? Maybe, influencer marketing might not be up either of our alleys yet, but is there any outreach activities that you've done with maybe a child's team?
Yeah, of course. So like I said, my brother, he used to play for his primary school a lot. So literally the first thing I did was I'll take this to my community football club, which I also played for, and I'll say, do you want to trial this product? And we'll let you use it for a certain amount of time. But yeah, I think as a small business, the community aspect is huge. Like, I'm not going to be reaching out into, the England national football team or something because I've got no chance. But in terms of community aspect, yeah, definitely. Yeah, my local community, which is obviously Mickle Trafford. But yeah, apart from that, it's mainly just focusing on the local community, especially with the local football teams, because there's a lot around here as well in Chester, especially.
Okay, so when you're working with the local community, do you also incorporate all the feedback they give you?
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so that was one of the main things, was obviously taking on board this feedback, as it's mainly from the grassroots level to begin with. So we obviously not really loaned, but it was more like a trial period to these sort of football teams. So the youth football team would take it for, let's say, 3 months. And after 3 months, they'd get back to us with all sort of the pain points they had. They had obviously a lot of good feedback as well. And we'd obviously sift through all this feedback and then try and really perfect, because we've had so many different prototypes. I think we must have had about 5 or 6 different prototypes by now. First one being literally made from like a bunch of Amazon materials.
So taped to a kid's head.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we try and take the advice on board and then progress it with our next prototype.
Yeah, do you use any of that for like social proofing as well, or do you just take it as like internal feedback? Because you did say you have like good reviews, and those could obviously look great on your website, social media, whatever you want to use it on. So yeah, pretty much, do you use the social proofing or just take the feedback?
Yeah, no, most of our feedback isn't from social media. It's mainly all from actual physical, like in person, like in these, from the schools, the academies, etc. So yeah.
What I mean by that is, imagine you're leaving a review on a restaurant, right? So these are like the reviews that they're leaving with you.
Testimonials?
Yeah. Are you using these as testimonials?
We do use testimonials. Yeah. I don't think we actually have any current testimonials on like our social medias, but apart from the club owner one, we use a testimonial from the club owner. But from actual reviews from like teachers and academy owners, I don't think we have any testimonials. So that's something that we should actually definitely use in the near future.
One piece of advice that I'd say is 100% of the time, people will trust strangers' opinion over your own. Your company's making claims, and obviously you have difficult claims to make that it's going to prevent head injuries, and that's what you want to be saying. Yeah. But I would trust a stranger about what they say about a food at a restaurant rather than the restaurant itself.
Yeah. I'm always on Google reviews, so yeah.
And you must be in an interesting position because you are making the market. It's a very different place than most small businesses. How do you, so if you have no competition, how are you pushing yourself? Who are you comparing yourself to?
It's very difficult when there's not sort of this massive competition around you, but obviously the problem has literally just come about. So I don't know, the way of measuring ourselves really is just see where we go with it. I mean, originally it was to solve a problem that's very close to me. So solving the problem in my brother's case was for his sort of community, his football team. But in terms of measuring ourselves up against like big competitors, it's not actually physically possible. So I think it was mainly just try and see if we can get to the point where we can ask the FA, do you actually think that this could potentially be a working thing within the actual game? So yeah, leading up to it, I don't think we're measuring up. It's almost as if we've got nothing to lose. I mean, you know what they say, it's dangerous when someone's got nothing to lose. So that's essentially what we measure ourselves up against.
Just to build upon that, I'm curious. I was just thinking about it. If I'm wearing a helmet while I'm playing, how do you get over the stigma? Because people have the same stigma when they're trying to ride a bike. They're too cool for wearing helmets. So like, how do you get over and market to people that it's good? It's your brain, you need to protect that. That's all.
Yeah, and it's even more important for kids as well, because kids will look at this and go, "What the hell is this?" Like, I don't want to put this on my head. It is like riding a bike. Really, kids don't obviously want to wear it, but we found a way around that in that personalization. If a headband's got Lionel Messi's name on it, or if a headband's got their name on it, their football team's colours on it, I think personalization really is the killer for kids in terms of how to make these kids wear them or want to wear them. But when we actually approached these youth football teams, the thing that really stood out was as soon as one kid starts wearing it, they all go, right, I want to wear that now. So it's like it's a knock-on effect. As soon as one of them starts wearing it, they all start wearing it. So I don't think you really need to you do need to drill the educational aspect in that, wearing this is going to protect you. But as a child, it's more about, you're going to look cool wearing this. So, yeah.
That's pretty interesting. And do you use, you're kind of marketing to parents, though. You're not really marketing to the kids. So do you rely more on the safety aspect or the personalization aspect?
Yeah, performance-wise, it's all about the safety aspect. And with marketing to the parents, you really have to drill the fact that this will benefit your child. And that, again, this comes back to the sort of scientific claims where you have to try and make the parents believe that this will actually make an impact. But we do rely more on the performance rather than the personalization.
So then how would you measure the effectiveness of your marketing campaigns about head safety?
Yeah, so currently, I mean, measuring marketing impact in terms of what we've currently achieved is quite difficult, as we haven't actually been marketing on a large scale for a long time. Like I said, what I've done is I've more so approached these organizations in person. I've gone to these academies, I've gone to these schools, I've said, you know what, just try it. And then whatever the feedback is, I've gathered it and I've come back and whatnot. In terms of measuring the marketing impact, I think we mainly just use channels such as Instagram, TikTok, sort of mainstream social media channels. So measuring the impact is quite difficult as of now.
So while you're still testing out the product in the market, if you've not sold your product yet, how are you funding this endeavor, basically?
Yeah, so we have sold a few units. Well, when I say a few units, what we do is, so I did primary research in the city of Chester, in which I asked sort of academies, and then I asked the customers as to which sort of market I was going to target. Would I just target the general public, or would I target organisations, schools, academies? I found that targeting the schools, the academies, the football teams was much more beneficial, as, okay, I might have to discount the price a little bit from selling it to a whole team, but it's better off than just selling one-off units to the customers. So yeah, it was more so selling a team bundle to Chester local grassroots football teams. So yeah, it's all been funded off our own backs as of right now. Obviously, we've got the venture pitch coming up, which is a massive opportunity for us to sort of get more funding in there. But yeah, we're lucky enough to, obviously I live from home, so I'm lucky enough to be able to fund this myself.
Yeah, it's great. Now, not to sound like the guy in Wolf of Wall Street, but imagine we're a team. Would you want to try selling it right now?
Absolutely not, no.
All right, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And yeah, we have been approached. I personally have been approached at a networking event to sell the whole thing, but it's something that's quite close to me personally. After what happened in Young Enterprise, when I got told so many times, I can't even tell you how many times people were like, "This is not going to work. Like, no one's going to wear it." Maybe not to that level of extremity, but people were, doubting it along the whole way. So it was more about not more about proving people wrong, but it's a thing that's very close to my heart in terms of, you failed, get back up again, prove everyone wrong. So yeah.
So it's got that sincerity and authenticity behind it. It's amazing. But what do I have next? How would you create that emotional connection with your audience then? And we've already talked about how a lot of your team had background stories with family members having dementia and other head issues. That do you rely on those stories from your team members, or do you kind of make up new ones to get that emotional connection?
It's a bit of everything, really. Like I said, we try and be really authentic in terms of our storytelling. What we are saying is true not only for our team but for real people out there. I think there's a lot of people that have suffered as a cause of there not being these sort of proactive measures in place. But yeah, in terms of our social media, we've made sort of these. They're almost like movies, really, with really famous footballers such as Petr Cech, Jimenez, who've been involved in really serious head injury scenarios. And I'm not saying my product is going to fix, someone 2-footing someone in the head, but putting these measures in place is significantly going to make a difference. And telling that story authentically is huge. It makes a huge difference.
Have you seen the Forest player this past week?
I think, yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah. They, I think it was induced, but still, it slammed into the post. It was nasty.
Yeah, and there was that thing with who was it recently? The keeper. Oh no, Mateta.
Yeah,
Mateta had that thing to him as well. But there's some horrible instances in football, especially recently.
The thing is, it's not just football. You look at
exactly.
boxing.
Yeah.
Boxing's the big one.
Oh
or
yeah,
American football.
Yeah.
Any of those contact sports.
thing is about boxing, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if it could be used in a sport where the objective is to beat the hell out of each other, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but you're also, I mean, it depends, because you've seen how in the Olympics they use those like big head guards and things, but we've also seen really bad instances in boxing with people almost losing their lives. I mean, you had Chris Eubank, not Chris Eubank. Yeah, no, it was Chris Eubank, where he basically knocked the guy senseless and he's living the rest of his life almost paralyzed. I think it's about a way of balancing it. So obviously you're going to want to hurt your opponent, but you're going to want to minimize the risk of them literally being paralyzed for the rest of their life.
So then have you thought about what other sports that you would want to take Headshield Pro into?
Absolutely, yeah. So boxing probably was the main one. Boxing is a massive like step though, because it obviously I think that's going to get even more backlash in football, especially because it's not then targeted towards just children, but it's the main sport of boxing. And like you said, it's about hurting your opponent, so people might be a little bit against that. All sorts of contact sports. This is the thing with this. The market is humongous. All contact sports, hockey, rugby potentially. Yeah, rugby's a bigger one, but obviously then it's going to need a whole new bit of market research. You're going to have to remap all the bits of the brain, because rugby's brutal. Like football might be bad sometimes, but rugby's brutal. So yeah, the market's humongous. I mean, there's so many different sports you could put it in.
Would it work behind an American football helmet? Because obviously they have the helmets, but they made that whole Will Smith movie that it wasn't effective and people were going crazy. Could you use Headshield Pro like in addition to an American football helmet?
Yeah, potentially. I've never actually thought about that. That's quite a good suggestion actually. But yeah, because the American football helmet's like quite a big. It's quite like a chunky piece of gear, isn't it?
It's like gladiator armor.
Yeah. So if you put that on, I mean, I suppose you could put one inside of it, and then it's even more protection. Because I'd imagine. I mean, I'm not sure the extent to which American football causes injuries, but I'd imagine it's quite.
It is.
It's quite extensive.
To be fair, that could be an easier way to collect data. So get into the NHL, get it into the NFL,
Yeah.
or maybe the lower leagues of them, and you can already start collecting the data of how much the impact you're reducing, and then start using that use case to sell it to the sports that need more marketing and telling them that, you know what, when you're playing rugby, you're getting fucked.
Yeah, and I tell you what as well. A funny thing that happened was when I was in the Young Enterprise competition and we set up our networking stand. Someone came up to me and was like, "You're doing this all wrong. You're doing this all wrong. There's another market that you're completely missing out on." And I was like, "What market am I missing out on?" And he said, "Construction." He said, "Why don't you make something better than a hard hat, where there's all this flying debris on people's heads, it's causing injuries and things. Why don't you that's a multi-million-pound opportunity." So it's not even sport that you could put this in. It's like it's construction, it's other things. So the market's massive, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why research is where you
Yeah, exactly. Because I'd never even thought about that. Like, who thinks about construction when you think about head protection? But obviously I was completely wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's probably tons we're not thinking of now that somebody else could think of, but yeah, construction would be huge. Would you have to modify the design at all, though? Because for football, I'm guessing it's covering just the
100%. Yeah, so it's about, I think a headband's obviously extremely difficult when you're actually trying to cover the top of your head, because it's literally just going around your head. But I don't know, there's a way in which you could make it more, because I think hard hats are a bit in the past, aren't they, really, in terms of, especially if you've got like women on the construction site and things, you need to modify the design so it's not so bloody awful. Because I mean, I've worked in not construction, but I used to work in like joinery, and I've done a bit of roofing, so I've had to wear these things and they're bloody awful. So we definitely need something else in that industry.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's probably not going to replace. It might replace the hard hat. I don't want to doubt you.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you could just wear underneath of it, as like an extra layer, could be something huge that everybody would need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what kind of collaborations are you thinking about going into then in the future?
Yeah, so obviously as of now, we're a very, very small business. So we're going to continue to try and expand into the grassroots level, which is what we're very, very familiar with. If we're talking long term, it would basically be as anyone and everyone. I mean, the biggest football clubs that possible, maybe Man United, who knows? But yeah, I mean, sometimes I see it as like, you know the stat sport vests?
Yeah.
Have you seen those where footballers wear them in training and things? Like all the top footballers wear them. I can see it becoming something like that where training is synonymous with wearing this. And you can make it technologically advanced in that, wearing it will tell you how much G-force you've endured from heading the ball or something. So it's all possible. It's all possible to go right into the Real Madrids, Man Uniteds. I mean, obviously, if we're talking long term, we're talking maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, but that's the end goal.
I mean, maybe an angle you could pitch it at is, use this for your up and coming players, use this for your youth academies, and, you could keep these kids sharp so they could still, play and function. Like one bad head injury and, your investment in this kid is done.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? So that could be an angle you work on.
And that's the good thing about it being such a long... it's a long-lasting product. It's meant, you're not meant to be buying one every week. You buy one and it's going to last you a very, very, very long time. So, absolutely.
Have you ever thought of yourself as like a serial entrepreneur, or is this going to be your main focus?
I've always had like a little bit of side hustle about me in that, I want to try drop shipping. I want to, all the generic sort of things. This is definitely my main focus as of now and as of for the near future. But yeah, I think I've always had that little bit of entrepreneur inside me, whether it was selling sweets at school or whether it was, doing anything I can to basically get a little bit more bob in my pocket. But yeah, I think this is my main focus for now.
So slightly building upon that, like I study about occupational psychology. Mainly curious about like you're working on a team. So that team dynamics, what kind of culture do you have in your team and how do you guys operate? How do you guys split up your roles? How do you guys,
so our team sort of culture is obviously a very positive one. I've known Josh now for quite a while. I think I've known Josh now for about 4 years, I'd say, which is a fair amount of time. In terms of our team roles, when all 5 of us were part of the team, it was very, very easy to assign our team roles because we all fit into the different areas. So Josh is obviously very finance heavy. He's a financial director. At the time, I was very marketing heavy, still am. So I was in charge of all the marketing. We had another Josh who was a very, very good speaker. He had a past in sales. So we said, okay, you can do the pitch speaking. Because that guy could sell sand to an Arab. And then what else did we have? We had Vlad, who was very sort of material heavy. So we were like, okay, you can do the material research. And then finally we had Doug, who was sort of like the vibes. He was like the, making jokes and just pissing about, basically. So he was like the operations sort of second guy. But yeah, the team culture is very, very positive. We bounce off each other very well in terms of ideas. And we're not afraid to sort of challenge each other. Even though I've had this for a long time, Josh will still come up to me and go, what the hell is that? What the hell are you doing? Like, I remember coming up to him a few weeks ago. I was like, do you know what? We're not really, the designs aren't really targeting women's football at all here. Why don't we stick some Hello Kitties on the designs? And Josh was like, what the fuck are you talking about? So yeah, no, we're not afraid to challenge each other, even though I've been involved in it for a lot longer than I have.
So I know that working in a team, it could be difficult. I used to have a few members on my team since the start, and they have all dropped out now. I'm thankful enough to have Addie now on the team. But what's one of the biggest mistakes that might have taught you the most, whether it be in the team or outside of it personally? Because obviously you've been working on it a lot longer than the rest of them have. So yeah, what's your biggest mistake?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake, I don't want to say believe in my idea too much, but sometimes you have to take on board criticism. And I was fighting criticism like it was like my biggest enemy. Like I remember actually, so we did like a business launch event at the business campus, and I don't know if it's the dean of the university. It might have been the dean of the university or something. Came up to my stall and basically said, "What the hell is that?" Like, because basically they didn't understand the fact that you don't head the ball with this. You head the ball with the front. You head the ball with more frontal force. But basically they had no idea that, and they basically told me this is a load of shit. But it just really taught me the fact that sometimes you don't need to take everything too much to heart. You want to take on board the criticism. Obviously, she hasn't got a fucking clue what she's talking about. So, I mean, I'm not going to take that on board too much. But I think my biggest mistake was listening to, I don't want to say the hate, but not listening to the criticism a lot of the time. Just take on board what people say.
Very fair. Very, very fair. Every small business is going to face criticism starting out as well.
Yeah.
We have a simple thing as a marketing company, and there was still criticism about the website, criticism about the logo, criticism about, whatever. I've listened to some of it, but some of it I just, had to brush off. But what would you do differently had the situation come up again?
I think I would have not been too harsh on myself, maybe, from some of the criticism. Like I said, I think I would have taken it more on board rather than fighting it constantly. Because I was constantly fighting the criticism, going, do you know what, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Instead, I would rather just listen and then implement it to fix it, basically, rather than fighting against it all the time. It takes too much effort to constantly fight people over their ideas all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, imagine yourself 5 years. What is, if you could make a simple plan of every single year, what you would like to do?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So by the end of this year, I think a good goal would be maybe to have our sort of services, our headbands in maybe 5 to 10 different schools. By the second year, I'd like to potentially expand that even further, maybe look to go into more academies, because there's definitely all sorts of football in academies, all sorts of schools. So maybe we'll say 20 to 25, maybe double that figure. And then by the third year, we'll look to go even further, maybe like 50 schools. And then as we get to maybe the third year, we might look to expand into all across the country. So maybe not just Chester, not just Manchester, but Liverpool, all these different cities. And then fourth and fifth year, maybe start, depending on how well the product's doing, maybe start to look at expanding into different sports, although that might take a lot of time. So maybe it's important to focus on this for now. Maybe first 5 to 10 years, focus on getting it into as many schools and academies as possible.
Just curious, are you not trying to look for any funding? Are you trying to fund it purely through the revenue you're making, or are you trying to look for investors and stuff?
Yeah, 100% going to look for investors. Obviously, we've got the venture pitch coming up, which I know you're doing as well, so my competition. But yeah, I think that's a big opportunity to get some funding there. But I think there's all sorts of investment that I could gain through, whether that's university, whether that's personally, whether that's someone I find. Maybe I've gone Dragon's Den. Maybe you see me in Dragon's Den, guys.
I'd love to.
Maybe The Apprentice, honestly.
Dude, Shark Tank as well. Go on there with a British accent, you go crazy.
I don't know about that. That's just brutal people on there. If I thought it was brutal at the university, I'm about to get absolutely grilled on
You're
Dragon's
going to go up
Den.
in front of Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. He's going to tear to pieces.
He's going to start bloody asking for royalties and things, isn't he? But yeah, I think... Yeah, find investment where I can, because funding it personally is going to be difficult, especially because when you're a student, I've got infinite money.
Well, you got any final questions?
Simple, classic question. What would you tell your younger self?
What would I tell my younger self after doing Headshield?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd just say go for it, because when I was in primary school and high school, I used to sort of fray away from opportunities. I didn't used to apply myself to all these different opportunities. When I went to university, I told myself, right, this stops now. I'm going to apply to everything and everything, literally every opportunity that comes my way, I'm applying for it. Just because, what's the point? Like, you're only young once, so you might as well just do whatever you can. But I mean, I'm happy I've done it at university, but I'd tell my younger self, fuck it. Just go for it. Just do every opportunity where you can, because you only live once, don't you?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I've heard it a million times for myself and this own business, but I've also told people, like, I had to talk to a bunch of young entrepreneurs at the university, and the biggest thing I told them was take action. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
There's no point not.
There's literally no point in not doing it. People will always tell you can't do it because people are assholes. But
once you're winning, then they start calling.
Exactly, and that's what happened with my business. They all fucking left me. And you'll notice people people are like sheep. People, you know, once one person starts doing something, they all start doing something. So as soon as one kid started wearing that headband, they were all like, sign me up. So, you know, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. And who cares if you fail? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're never going to have a time in your life where you've got as little responsibility as you do now.
Yeah.
Well said.
You know, I don't have any children. I don't have anything. I don't have any other sort. Okay, I'm even going a bit off topic now, but I'm just saying. There's no point. Who cares if you fail now? If I, maybe if I get to £1 million of debt, then I might be a little bit fun. But if I failed now, at least 60, 70 years in the future, I could tell myself, do you know what, I tried?
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, even if, and I hope it does, really hope it does, but even if Headshield Pro didn't work out, maybe that helps you for your next product. I mean, obviously you got that entrepreneurial spirit, right? So
I'm a big believer in, what's the phrase? Whatever's meant to happen will happen. I don't believe in things that weren't supposed to happen.
You believe in fate, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that things are. Well, I don't know. I can't remember the exact saying, but things that are supposed to be, will be. I don't think mistakes exist. I think mistakes exist, but I think everything happens for a reason. That's the word.
Yeah,
I think everything happens for a reason.
I get that. That's
the one.
I don't know if I agree with that completely. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I think people got to make their own fate. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree to a certain extent, but I think I look back on things in terms of, mistakes, and I go, at the time, why me? Why did that happen to me? Why does that mistake happen to me? And I look back and I go, I think they all happen for a reason.
I mean, it led you to this room right now.
Exactly. I wouldn't be in this room right now. And, I did a placement year, right? 4 months into my placement year, my business went bankrupt. So I couldn't do the placement anymore. And it's led me here. But why has it led me here? It's like, well, this all happened for a reason. At the time, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm the luckiest person on planet Earth. But now I look back and I go, do you know what? I'm quite glad. Not glad that happened, but I'm glad that, I'm where I am today.
Yeah.
Well said.
Got one last question for you.
Go on then.
Before we head off, but what message do you want to leave with parents and young athletes regarding the importance of head safety in sports?
Very, very good question. So I would say that Headshield is more than just a product. It's almost a story. I'd say it's more of a future for athlete safety. I think it's more than just protecting as well. It's more about your confidence. It's more about improving their education. It's more about safeguarding literally the entire younger footballing generation. So any parents out there doubting it, I'm telling you now, it's the future.
Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. And go buy yourself a Headshield Pro for your kid right now.
Thanks.
Headshield Pro, wait, where is it?
Oh, he's got one.
Oh, you got one?
He's got one.
Well, the first one.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Still all right. I'd love to see it. Bang.
Hey,
look at that thing.
Hey, nice. Okay.
Go get one of those right now. What are you waiting for?
We'll finish off in it as well.
Oh, my God. How trendy.
Jesus Christ, this is bad from the one we got now.
Yeah, but now I want one.
That looks pretty sick, actually. Honestly, that's not bad. Go on. Nice.
There you go. Buy yourself a Headshield Pro. The future of athlete safety.